Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, YouTube. We are again reading in the Scriptures Bible. So, get your coffee, read along. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Read your Bible for yourself. So, let's get started. We are in Exodus chapter 10. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Go in to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart and the hearts of his servants, so that I show these signs of mine before him, and that you relate in the hearing of your son and your son's son what I have done in Mitzrayim, and my sons which I have done among them. And you shall know that I am Yahweh." And Moshe and Aaron came into Pharaoh and said to him, "Thus said Yahweh, Elohim of the Hebrews, till when shall you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go so that they serve me. Or else if you refuse to let my people go, see, tomorrow I am bringing locusts within your borders. And they shall cover the surface of the land so that no one is able to see the land. And they shall eat the rest of what has escaped. What remains to you from the hail they shall eat, every tree which grows up for you out of the field. And they shall fill your houses and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all the Mitzrites, which neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were on the earth to this day." Then he turned and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servants said to him, "Till when would this one be a snare to us? Let the men go so that they serve Yahweh their Elohim. Do you not know that Mitzrayim is destroyed?" And Moshe and Aaron were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, "Go serve Yahweh your Elohim. Who are the ones that are going?" And Moshe said, "We are going with our young and our old, with our sons and our daughters, with our flocks and our herds we are going, for we have a festival to Yahweh." And he said to them, "Let Yahweh be with you, as I let you and your little ones go. Watch, for evil is before your face. Not so. You men go now and serve Yahweh, for that is what you desired." And they were driven out from the presence of Pharaoh. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand over the land of Mitzrayim, for the locusts to come upon the land of Mitzrayim, and eat every plant of the land, all that the hail has left." And Moshe stretched out his rod over the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahweh brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. Morning came, and the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Mitzrayim, and settled within the borders of Mitzrayim, very grievous. There had never been locusts like them before, nor would there again be like them. And they covered the surface of all the land, so that the land was darkened. And they ate every plant of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And no greenness was left on the trees or on the plants of the fields in all the land of Mitzrayim. Pharaoh then called for Moshe and Aaron in haste, and said, "I have sinned against Yahweh your Elohim, and against you. And now, please forgive my sin only this once, and pray to Yahweh your Elohim, that he would only turn away this death from me." And he went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahweh. And Yahweh turned a very strong west wind, which took the locusts away and blew them into the sea of reeds. Not one locust was left within all the border of Mitzrayim. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go. And Yahweh said to Moshe, "Stretch out your hand toward the heavens, and let there be darkness over the land of Mitzrayim, even a darkness which is felt." And Moshe stretched out his hand toward the heavens, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Mitzrayim for 3 days. They did not see one another, nor did anyone rise from his place for 3 days, while all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called to Moshe and said, "Go serve Yahweh, only leave your flocks and your herds behind. Let your little ones go with you too." But Moshe said, "You yourself are to provide us with slaughterings and ascending offerings to prepare for Yahweh our Elohim. And our livestock are to go with us too. Not a hoof is to be left behind, for we have to take some of them to serve Yahweh our Elohim. And we ourselves do not know with what we are to serve Yahweh until we come there." However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said to him, Get away from me. Watch yourself and see my face no more, for in the day you see my face you die. And Moshe said, You have spoken rightly. Never again do I see your face. And that is the end of chapter 10. So here we have plagues 8 and 9, locusts and darkness. And once again, the Israelites do not suffer the same thing, but all of the Egyptians do. And of course, Pharaoh's heart is hardened. He first says, yeah, I'll let you go, and then no. But this last time, he says, don't come back. I don't want to see your face again, or you're going to die. I'm going to have you killed. And Moshe says, fine with me. One plague to go. Chapter 11. And Yahweh said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that, he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. And Moshe said, Thus said Yahweh, about midnight I am going out into the midst of Mitzrayim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, such as has never been or ever shall be again. But against any of the children of Israel no dog shall move its tongue against man or against beast, so that you know that Yahweh makes distinction between Mitzrayim and Israel. And all these servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out, you and all your people at your feet, and after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. Very short little chapter, but it gives you the introduction of the last plague, the death of the firstborn. And we're talking everybody and every living thing. Cattle, pets, Pharaoh's son, servant's son, station in life, doesn't matter. It's all the firstborns. And then Pharaoh will let them go. In fact, he will drive them out. So it's not just going into the wilderness for a few days. It'll be getting out of Egypt forever. Chapter 12. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron in the land of Mitzrayim, saying, This new moon is the beginning of new moons for you. It is the first new moon of the year for you. Speak to all the congregation of Israel, saying, On the 10th day of this new moon, each one of them is to take for himself a lamb, according to the house of his father, a lamb for a household. And if the household is too small for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the beings. According to each man's need, you make your count for the lamb. Let the lamb be a perfect one, a year-old male. Take it from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it until the 14th day of the same new moon. Then all the assembly of the congregation of Israel shall slay it between the evenings. And they shall take some of the blood and put it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the house where they eat it. And they shall eat the flesh on that night, roasted in fire with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roast it in fire, its head with its legs and its inward parts. And do not leave of it until morning, and what remains of it until morning you are to burn with fire. And this is how you eat it: your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Pesach of Yahweh. And I shall pass through the land of Mitzrayim on that night, and shall strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and beast, and on all the mighty ones of Mitzrayim I shall execute judgment. I am Yahweh. And the blood shall be a sign for you on the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I shall pass over you, and let the plague not come on you or destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. And this day shall become to you a remembrance, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to Yahweh throughout your generations. Celebrate it as a festival, an everlasting law. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. Indeed, on the first day you cause leaven to cease from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from this first day until the 7th day, that being shall be cut off from Israel. And on the first day is a set-apart gathering. And on the 7th day you have a set-apart gathering. No work at all is done on them, only that which is eaten by every being, that alone is prepared by you. And you shall guard the festival of Matzah, for this same day I brought your divisions out of the land of Mitzrayim. And you shall guard this day throughout your generations, an everlasting law. In the first month, on the 14th day of the new moon in the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the new moon in the evening. For 7 days no leaven is to be found in your houses, for if anyone eats what is leavened, that same being shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Whether sojourner or native of the land, do not eat that which is leavened. In all your dwellings you are to eat unleavened bread. And Moshe called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Go out and take lambs for yourself, according to your clans, and slay the Pesach. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel on the 2 doorposts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until morning. And Yahweh shall pass on to smite the Mitzrites, and shall see the blood on the lintel and on the 2 doorposts, and Yahweh shall pass over the door, and not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And you shall guard this word as a law for you and your sons forever. And it shall be when you come to the land which Yahweh gives you, as he promised, that you shall guard this service. And it shall be when your children say to you, What does this service mean to you? Then you shall say, It is the Pesach, slaughtering of Yahweh, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Mitzrayim, when he smote the Mitzrites and delivered our households. And the people bowed their heads and did obeisance. And the children of Israel went away and did so, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be at midnight that Yahweh struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, from the firstborn of Pharoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of livestock. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Mitzrites, and there was a great cry in Mitzrayim, for there was not a house where there was not a dead one. Then he called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, Arise, go out from the midst of my people, both you and the children of Israel, and go, serve Yahweh as you have said. Take both your flocks and your herds as you have said, and go, then you shall bless me too. And the Mitzrites were strong on the people to hasten to send them away out of the land, for they said, We are all dying. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, having their kneading bowls bound up in their garments on their shoulders. And the children of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe. And they had asked from the Mitzrites objects of silver and objects of gold and garments. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites, so that they gave them what they had asked, and they plundered the Mitzrites. And the children of Israel set out from Ramses to Sukkot, about 600,000 men on foot, beside the little ones. And a mixed multitude went up with them too, also flocks and herds, very much livestock. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they had brought out of Mitzrayim, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out of Mitzrayim, and had not been able to delay, nor had they prepared food for themselves. And the sojourn of the children of Israel who lived in Mitzrayim was 430 years. And it came to be at the end of the 430 years, on that same day, it came to be that all the divisions of Yahweh went out from the land of Mitzrayim. It is a night of watches unto Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim. This is that night of watches unto Yahweh for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. And Yahweh said to Moshe and Aaron, this is the law of Pesach. No son of a foreigner is to eat of it. But any servant a man has bought for silver, when you have circumcised him, then let him eat of it. A settler and a hired servant does not eat of it. It is eaten in one house. You are not to take any of the flesh outside the house, nor are you to break any bone of it. All the congregation of Israel are to perform it. And when a sojourner sojourns with you, and shall perform the Pesach to Yahweh, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and perform it. And he shall be as a native of the land. Let no uncircumcised eat of it. There is one Torah for the native born, and for the sojourner who sojourns among you. And all the children of Israel did as Yahweh commanded Moshe and Aaron, so they did. And it came to be on that same day that Yahweh brought the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim, according to their divisions. So we have the first Passover. And God says right there that this is to be remembered every year forever. For 7 days, there is no leaven in your house, which mostly for them would have been like a sourdough starter. We do have a lot more complicated leavening agents in today's world that they didn't have back then. But the Passover meal is the first night, and it is a high holy day. You shall do no work. And eat in haste unleavened bread, with your sandals on your feet and, your loins girdled. It's weird language, but be ready to go. As soon as you hear the word, be ready to go. And the unleavened bread, it takes a lot less time to prepare. We celebrated our first Passover this year, just a couple weeks ago. And I made unleavened bread almost every day. I was getting pretty good at it, but it is a lot quicker than making regular bread. And I didn't buy this stuff from the store, but I made my own, which is what they would have done, so trying to do what they did. It was a lovely week. I'm not so good at cooking lamb. Not that I had a whole lamb. I got some lamb shoulder from the store, and I didn't do that right. But I preferred the lamb burgers. I'll just say that. The lamb burgers were pretty tasty. But this was the first Passover, and they're told to remember it every year throughout their generations. Now, this first one, they also had to take the blood from the lamb that they slaughtered and put it on their doorposts. And that would be the sign that death would pass over them. See what he did there? They were not commanded to do the blood part after that. That was just for the first one. But pretty much everything else, do this every year. And Pharoh says, take all your stuff and get out. Because there was a great cry. A lot of people died. It says there wasn't a single house that didn't have a dead one in it. that's a lot of crying out. A lot of grief. But that is the end of the reading for today. And we shall see the repercussions of that next week. Thanks for coming along with us today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're reading along. And I hope you join us again next Saturday. So have a wonderful week. May the Father bless you. Shalom.